Hey guys, I'm Brian, this is Taylor. We're going to give you a little orientation to what goes on down here at the Back Mountain Revolution. We're going to introduce you to the bikes, a quick instructional video. Hopefully you're seeing this video before you take your first class. This is all the stuff they don't tell you before you come down. So this will make your first class experience and second class a lot easier and a lot better, okay? So without further ado, let's get right into it. What you're looking at is a brightly lit room. When we actually do class, it'll be very dark. So it's better to see it in the light first once, and then you'll be a little bit more accustomed to it when you come down in the dark. Taylor's going to show you what to do when you arrive at your bike. You'll pick any bike you want. She's going to put a water bottle on one of the sides. There's actually water bottle holders on each of two sides. She's going to put her towel up. And you definitely want to make sure to bring a towel. You will sweat profusely. And don't forget. Now, let's talk about the outfit, and I'll ask you to show Taylor. Right now, Taylor has sneakers on. Later on, we'll talk about the really, really scary spin shoes that you probably heard about. But for now, all you need is a pair of sneakers, comfortable pair of shorts, and a comfortable t-shirt that will wick up all of your sweat. And we're going to show you one of these, and I'll go grab it off camera here. We generally recommend the use of padded bike shorts. Taylor's wearing a pair of padded bike shorts, but I'll ask my camera to come a little closer in here. This is called the saddle of the bike. This here is a gel padding. Down here at Back Mountain Revolution, we have a couple of these on our shelf over there. If you don't have padded bike shorts, it's okay. You can still participate. You'll want to grab one on the shelf and just slide it over here and pull it tight. Okay, so you don't need fancy bike shorts. You can come down and board the bike with just the padding, one of these pads. I'm going to take it off because Taylor has padded bike shorts on. So once you get to that point, we're ready to adjust the bike, and we're going to do that next. Okay, so I'm going to ask Taylor to come around to the side of the bike right here. We're going to actually get this bike adjusted. This is one of the biggest challenges we face when we first start riding because it can be a little bit scary. There's a lot of knobs and stuff to play around with. So let me show you how to do it. The first time that you come down, you should ask for some help from either one of the instructors or somebody else who has done it often. Most of the people have a familiarity with it. Or watch this video again right before you come down, okay? The first step in adjusting the bike is to adjust what's called the seat or the saddle. You'll hear it referred to as a saddle, and this is it right here. What I'm going to ask Taylor to do is to come right next to that saddle and find the top of her hip. So if we could swing around with the camera there, and what she's doing here is she's locating the top of her hip bone. And what we want to do is we want to bring that saddle up, and I'm going to help you do it, so you keep right. We're going to bring that saddle up. She had to loosen up the knob a little bit there and find a hole, and it clicks into the holes. I don't know if you can see the holes there. You'll find a hole that matches up to your hip height, and then we'll tighten up this knob just a bit, okay? Now to show you one more time, Taylor's going to show you her hip and then show you the top of the saddle. So that's the first measurement, okay? The second one is what we call front to back, from handlebar to saddle. So she's going to take her fingertips and put her elbows, and you can see that her fingertips are touching the bar here. And let me move your towel, may I? So her fingertips are touching the front bar, and her elbow is touching just at the tip of that seat. If that isn't the case when you come to your bike, you're going to have to adjust it. So now come on down and I'll show you the backwards adjustment. So Taylor, why don't you step back for 1 second. Right here we have a really fancy handle that tends to catch people up when they trip people up when they first do it. I'm going to demonstrate to you a little trick here. This little handle comes down and goes back up again. It's spring loaded, okay? So I'm actually going to pull it down and center it. And then I hope I guessed the right direction. It's righty tighty, lefty loosey. So I loosened it up. Taylor, come on back in. I'll purposely get it off, and so put your elbows in there and your fingertips, so touch there. And I'm just gonna bump that saddle up, and that looks about right. And I'm gonna tighten it, so thank you, you could step back. Here's the tightening. I'm gonna go, and then I'm gonna drop it down, center it, and tighten it again. This takes a little practice, just so you know. So don't be frustrated if it doesn't work the first time you come down, okay? Now, Taylor, are you ready to get on the bike? Yes. Okay, hop on. So she's going to straddle the bike and hold on tight to the handlebars. Now, one thing I want to show you about these bikes is, okay, the bikes move, the handlebars move. So if it's your first time getting on, you need to be aware of that. You kind of got to brace yourself and get ready. So grab on nice and tight and wiggle your butt up on the saddle. Okay? Don't put your shoes into the pedals yet. We'll work on that in a second. Okay, now the very first thing you're going to want to do when you get on this bike is put your feet on the pedals, relax a little bit, and then just start to swing the bike just a little. Go ahead and do it yourself, right? just to get a feel for the fact that the bike is actually moving, all right? And then now we're gonna do the famous fall off test. Now here's where I'm gonna make a promise to you. I don't even know if you can see me here, but the promise we're gonna make is you will not fall off these bikes, and now Taylor is gonna be brave enough to demonstrate this while I push, okay? Even if you go all the way over to the side or come all the way over this way, you will not fall off the bike, okay? So don't worry or panic about that. And the other thing that scares people when they first come down is they're worried that they won't be able to do this action. We'll talk about it a little bit more later, but you don't have to do it if you don't want to do it. So your first time through, no worries about it, okay? We're going to talk about how to adjust the front handlebars. So I'm actually going to have Taylor come on up here. Now, generally the rule of thumb is that when you're first starting out is, actually shovel back a little bit there, is to have the top of the saddle roughly level with the handlebars. That's a good guideline. When you get a little more into it, you might tweak it up or down, but for now, we're going to show you how to level them out. So Taylor, why don't you come out and show them how you'd level it out? I know you like to ride them a little bit differently, but go ahead and just level them out. Maybe drop it down just one. I get your tail there. Drop it down just one bar, right? Now, what you can see she did here is she leveled them off, and then that, if you can come in close here, you got this little knob here in the holes. She got one hole there, and we just tighten up that knob, okay? Now she's adjusted. You could probably live with that for this part. Taylor's going to jump on the bike now. Now this part, we're going to adjust the pedals and clipping in. Now you notice that Taylor has just regular sneakers on, and get a real tight shot in there if you can. She's got the regular sneakers on. Later on I'm going to show you the scary spin shoes that everybody talks about. But for now I'm going to go ahead and show you how to adjust this. Notice that there's the top of the pedal has this fancy looking thing which you aren't going to care about for now. Instead we're going to have Taylor dig her foot in there and press it all the way forward. Notice how loose this is. The idea is to get it tight so that your foot is nice and snug in there. So now I'm going to show you the trick. You got to get your thumb on this piece down here. It's a spring loaded, so press your thumb on it and it opens up. You see how it opens up, that mechanism, right? And tighten it up until it's nice and snug. Okay, does that feel snug? Good, right answer. Okay, we tuck them in so they don't click when she pedals, and that looks pretty good to me, okay? So you're going to need some help with that. You might need to ask somebody to help you with it. You can do it before you get on the pedals. You can reach down with your hand and do it, but it's best to know how to do it in the light as opposed to the dark, okay? Guys, what I want to show you is how to make sure that you're in good alignment. After all the adjustments, you might be saying, well, how do I know if I did it right? That's one of the questions. So here's the really good test to know whether you're doing it right or not. I'm going to ask Taylor to take this foot all the way to the bottom of the pedal stroke and just stay right there. And I want you to look at her knees right there, all right? Her knees are nice and soft. You can see that they're not locked. And Taylor, if you could, just lock your knee like real. Yeah, see, that's a locked knee right there. Now make it nice and soft. Now take a couple of pedal strokes and we'll watch. Her knees stay nice and soft, right? Okay, stop. So if your knees are locked, it means that your saddle is too high or something's not quite adjusted right, all right? So make sure you check your knees before you ride, okay? Okay. And so we're going to talk about hand positions on the handlebars now. These are the handlebars of the real riders. And we have a couple different hand positions we use, and we use them by number with one exception, so I'm going to show them to you now. Taylor, come on down into hand position 1. This hand position is used occasionally during different things we do, which like jumps and other things, so that's hand position 1. We do hand position 2 very often. This is very frequently used. As a matter of fact, your first class, if all you do is stay in hand position 2 the whole time, you're going to be in good shape. And then there's hand position 3. Notice she has a very light grip. She's not squeezing it like panicking. You're going to want to do that your first class, so try not to and keep it nice and relaxed. Okay, and then we have what we call Aero position. Her elbows are way close in. She's pulling herself tight, and we use this a lot when we do sprints. So let's review one more time. Hand position 2, hand position 3, the Aero position, and hand position 1. So we're going to talk about this why don't you come on in close for this one. This is a very scary looking red thing. This is called our resistance knob. And it's very, very important that you heed what I'm saying to you now. When you get on the bike, you're going to notice that the resistance has been turned all the way off. It's almost operating like a faucet of water, okay? When you turn it all the way to the left, there's no resistance on the bike at all. But as I turn it, actually, Taylor, I'll have you do it with your right hand. Just start adding resistance. Just keep on turning it. So that makes the bike harder. Left makes it easier, right makes it harder. You won't have to remember I told you which direction, because when you actually get on the bike, you'll be well aware of it. I'm going to ask Taylor to take it all the way off now. Turn that faucet all the way off. And what you'll notice about what's happening here when she pedals, even at a normal pace, is it looks a little bit out of control, right? The bike is flying out of control. So here's the promise you're going to make to me. You can slow down a little bit. The promise you can make to me is you will never ever ride these bikes with no resistance. You're going to want to. You're going to say, oh, this is easier. I love this. No, never, ever, ever. So I'm going to have Taylor do what we call putting flat road on the bike. Imagine riding a bike on a flat road. It's nice and level. It takes about 5 turns of that wheel. Don't get panicky. The bike isn't broken. You're doing it right. Just keep on going till you feel the slight pinch. All right, have you felt your pinch yet? After she feels the pinch, she's gonna back it off just a little bit, and we call that the flat road, all right? You should be able to find flat road at any moment, and in your first class, you should ride your bike on a flat road the entire time, no matter what is being said. At the end of this video, I'm gonna have you make a promise with me about your first class, but for now, just keep in mind that staying on a flat road is where you wanna be. Now, let's talk about when the instructor says add a gear to the bike. You probably have ridden a bike in your life, and perhaps you remember what that was like. You have harder gears and easier gears. I'm gonna ask Taylor to reach down, and as if it were a clock, she's gonna put 5 minutes to the right. She's gonna add 1 gear. That's like 5 minutes on a clock. Taylor, do another 5 minutes, add another gear. Now she is at flat road plus 2 gears. Taylor, I want you to take 1 gear off, so take it 5 minutes on a clock to the left. Okay? Now, different instructors will cue it different ways. We call it adding a gear or subtracting a gear. Another way you may hear it said is we start at 75%, which represents our maximum effort, 75%. And I'm going to ask Taylor to add enough gear to get to what she thinks is 80% of her maximum effort, which is probably about 2 gears or 3 gears. And right now you're saying percent. I have no idea what that means, so I'm going to give you a little exercise to try the first time you're on your bike. Taylor, I want you to keep turning that until you reach 100% resistance, where you physically cannot turn those pedals over at all. We call that 100%, okay? She cannot pedal anymore. She's physically unable. Now she's going to back it off to about 90, right? Very, very hard. Now go back to 80. Sometimes we call this getting in the mud. Okay, now take it all the way back to a flat road. Flat road we sometimes refer to as 75%. Let's do a quick review. Right turn by 5 minutes on the clock is adding a gear. Left turn is taking off a gear. And you are generally running between 75% and 100% of what you can do. Okay? That's all about the resistance knob. Taylor, I want you to show them one more thing. In the unlikely event that something should happen, you need to make a panic stop on your bike. Believe it or not, there is a way to do it. When I say so, Taylor, I want you to take your right hand and slam it down on that red button. So do it now, and it actually physically stops the wheel. So if you have any issue where the bike is going away from you or you need to get off very quickly, simply hit that red button. That is the resistance knob. Guys, we're going to talk about one of the features of the Real Rider bikes that you're riding down here at the BMR that involves the movement of tilting and leaning and the engagement of your core. So Taylor, give them a little demonstration of what this looks like. Just give me a little tilt to the left and a little tilt to the right. All right, notice what she's doing there. She's engaging her core and getting that bike moving. Now come back center for me. Now, here's the thing, as a beginner, this may look a little scary to you. Don't be scared off by it, because when you first get started riding here, you don't have to actually lean or tilt. You don't have to do any of that, okay? But if you want to give it a shot, you can ease into it. I'm going to help you here just a little bit. Maybe your first class, you're trying a little of this. As you get better and better at it, you could go farther and farther. But the most important thing to note is in your first classes, you simply do what she's doing right now. You do not have to tilt and lean. I just want to make you aware of it. And as you get more and more engaged in it, you will enjoy the benefit in your core of having done the leaning and the tilting. Guys, we're going to talk about your next step in riding the bikes, which is actually to get up out of that saddle. This is a little nerve-wracking at first. Again, in your first class, it is not necessary for you to do this. We will talk more about that in a minute. But what I do want to show you is how to make sure you're doing it safely in a way that you don't injure yourself and also enjoy it at its maximum. Right now, Taylor is riding the bike at a very, very low level of resistance. You might be doing the same thing your first class, because you're probably saying to yourself, oh, it's too hard, I have to make it easier. Well, when you're going to come out of the saddle, you want to protect your knees. In order to make sure you do that, you need enough resistance on that bike. So Taylor, I want you to take it to a flat road. We talked about flat road, plus maybe 1 or 2 gears on there. Notice her legs are slowing down because the resistance is kicked in, and now it's a safe time for her to actually come out of that saddle. I'm going to move out of the way, and I'm going to let Taylor come on up and get out of the saddle, okay? Notice her shoulders are relaxed. Her elbows are nice and soft, okay? She's moving very fluidly. When you first do it, you'll feel a little bit awkward. Your bike will probably move a little bit, but you want to try to keep that nice fluid motion. If you notice what she's doing there, she's going in complete circles, all right? She's not choppy or pushing or pumping. She's trying to keep it nice and smooth, all right? All her exertion is out of her core. Go ahead and have a seat. Let me emphasize that what you just saw is not something you have to do in your first class. You can do it in your second class, your third class, but that is called getting out of the saddle, and you'll hear that cued, okay? Now, Taylor, I want you to come out of the saddle again. As you get more and more advanced, you'll see the different instructors actually cueing a slight tilt or a lean during this, so go ahead and lean the bike that way while you're out of the saddle. This is a very advanced move. Again, first class, not doing it, but if you're watching this video a little farther down the pike and come on the other side, so you're leaning out of the saddle, it's a very, very good way to build your core up, okay? Back to center and have a seat. Guys, I want to commend you for having made it this far. If you're still with us, it means that you're going to go ahead and give this a try, all right? I want to talk specifically about your first class and what I'm recommending you do. What you see Taylor doing right now is pedaling at a nice, easy pace. Her hands are in hand position too. Very easy. I recommend in your first class that you simply do what she's doing now. I give you permission to ignore the instructor, ignore all the commands to get up, to tilt, to lean. You don't have to do any of that your first class. You can simply do what she's doing right now. You can enjoy the music, take it all in, look around at what people are doing, start thinking about how you will approach it next class. Taylor, come out of the saddle just a little, maybe down, come sit back down again. You might experiment with coming out of the saddle. Taylor, give me just a little lean just to play with it and then go back. You might experiment with it, but the most important thing is you're going to make me a promise, and that promise is very simple. You're going to do what she's doing right now, and you're going to stick with it through the whole class. And if you do that, give yourself a lot of credit for having survived that first class, all right? You made it this far. Your class is over. You clapped the instructor, you made it, you survived it. Now there's one more thing you have to do before you leave BMR, and that's wipe your bike down. So nobody really tells you this, but so you're going to see it here. You walk over, we have dispensers for the towels. Take a towel out, pick up the spray bottle, and just soak it, okay? And get it good soaking there. And then I'm going to walk over to I'll do it on this bike here. I'm going to wipe down the saddle, wipe down the handlebars, okay? Wipe the knobs off and give it a good wipe and get all that sweat off. Okay, so that's just wiping the bike down. That's a real courtesy to the next person that's going to ride. Guys, these are the famously scary spin shoes that you do not need. I repeat, your first class, you do not need these. You can wear regular good old-fashioned sneakers and have a tremendous ride. But if you're ready to make the jump and you want to engage a little bit more, we're going to show you the fancy spin shoes. What makes these fancy is the bottom of the spin shoes, there's a special cleat that's going to clip into the top of the pedals. Even if you're not using spin shoes, it'll be helpful to be aware that the pedals have a top and a bottom. I'm going to ask Taylor now to hop on the bike. She's got a pair of spin shoes on, and we're going to have her clip in. I'm going to ask him to come nice and close in now. The first thing Taylor's going to have to do is find the top of the pedal. Now lift your foot 1 second. I just want to show him. This is the cleat right here. This is where your sneakers would go, but this is the cleat, so she's going to go ahead and put her shoes on there. What she does is just relax a little bit and start to kind of gently pedal until you hear 2 clicks, and now she's all clipped in. So let me repeat, you do not need scary spin shoes to be successful at the Back Mountain Revolution, but if you have them, you can use them, and we can clip into that. And if you want more information on that, ask any of the instructors or ask any of the other participants that are using them. Guys, thanks for watching. I hope it was informative for you. A couple of review points. Just get through the first class or two and stay pedaling. Do what she's doing. Just stay in there and keep pedaling. You will catch on to the finer points of it. It'll be a great workout. You get a week free down here at the Back Mountain Revolution, so click on the website right around us, the links that you see on our website here, and get yourself engaged for a week free and give it a shot, and we look forward to seeing you down at the Back Mountain Revolution.